Hi everybody. I just wanted to show what I've been working on for the last couple weeks, which is actually an NES game, a game for the good old Nintendo Entertainment System. And right now I'm working on a company logo. It's not quite done yet, but I've been tinkering with so-called color cycling. And the way this is achieved is actually quite simple on the NES. So first of all, the code is a bit of spaghetti. I took the code of CPP, Chris CPP. He made a little HTML5 app called the Retro Puzzle Maker, and internally it uses a ROM, obviously. It's an HTML5 app that runs in the browser or as an Electron app, and it has like its own little level editor and lots of nice stuff. And when it's all done, when you created your little game, it spits out a patchable assembly file, and the other end that is needed is the the C part and the rest of the assembly code, the library, which is open source. Like the puzzle maker itself is unfortunately not open source, but the ROM file is the source code for the actual ROM file. So what I'm doing, I've started with that originally, but mainly as a learning experience, and now I'm sort of hacking on the actual ROM code and moving a lot of the stuff that's in the patchable assembly file into the actual ROM code. So I'm moving it all out. And so anyhow, the color cycling is rather simple. So what we do here is, this should obviously be I think this could be in a global part. But what we're doing here is basically we have a modulo on the frame count, and depending on the frame count, we apply, or we override rather, a color to this particular color index in our palette, in our background palette. The way this looks, well, first of all, this is where I took the colors from. So this is that's a rather nice website. If you're into Nintendo Entertainment System development, then definitely check out nesdev.org. And here it basically has this. We use this palette. That's the 2C02 and 2C07 palette, which is the most used one, at least by the original. There's apparently multiple different. This one is actually used apparently by the VS system, which was I don't know if it was short-lived. I've never seen one in person, but it was used by a VS system, which was an arcade system for 2 players. It was NES based, but it was an arcade system, and that has a different palette apparently because the PPU has it's different. It's slightly different, even though it's basically the same system. But yeah, that's the palette we use here. And so I used these values. There we go. It's a bit larger. And now what this looks like in our emulator. So we got our little debugging tools here. This is messing, by the way. I had to compile this myself because I couldn't find a version for Mac. But this is our palette viewer. And if we go in here, we see this is the color we are editing. This is this color here. I've used the blue twice. I could probably simplify the palette. I'm not quite done yet. I don't know what the final result will actually look like. Maybe there's going to be a different background color. But the one we're editing is this one. So index position 9. And then we have a value of 11. And when you start the game, then we can see it's nicely toggling, it's nicely cycling the colors. And because it's modular based, I'm not quite sure if it's gonna be very performant for a lot of stuff. Like there's a couple forum posts about it that it might not be too fast, but there's also some that say it might be okay because it's character RAM. But basically this is how to easily color cycle for one color, and we could probably do this for multiple colors, out of sync or in sync. And yeah, I think I will use this a lot for my game. And then we have a different color palette. This is the color palette for my little art piece, which I'm not done yet on this one either. This was just done to like see how well it can do like curved stuff. Yeah, this was my old cat. That basically the game I'm developing is in his honor. So this will probably end up being the in memoriam screen. I'm not sure where I'll put it in the game. It's the game itself is gonna be sort of a dungeon romp, like basically bird's view, and you're a cat knight in a dungeon in a tower. That's why the game's called Tower Cat. It's not the final title, but that's what the work in progress title right now. And so basically the goal of the game is to get to the top of the tower, to the highest level of the tower, and basically find the cat knight's master. So it's I kind of, my cat was looking for me all the time while I was still gone in Mexico, and so that's basically a bit of a homage. But yeah, that's what I've got to show so far. But that's just what I wanted to show, really, that it's quite easy to do color cycling on the NES, at least for a single color. That is actually a built-in function on the... Oh, that's another project. Where's mine? There we go. So this is basically built in. This is when you use NESLib, then you have this palette color function. And so it's really simple to do it on the fly. You don't normally, if you manipulate graphics, you sometimes, like if you replace the entire screen, you have to turn off the PPU first, and then do all that stuff, clear the screen, and load it into the VRAM. I'm saving all that stuff as an RLE compressed name table, and I save all of that stuff in a... I found it's the easiest if you actually... There's multiple formats in Next. I don't have Next open right now, and my Mac Mini is burning hot, especially when I'm recording stuff. But yeah, basically, there's multiple formats in Next, and I use C headers for the name table, which I've found to be pretty much the easiest way to deal with, to be honest. But yeah, that's it for now. This is what I had to show. So until later.